speaking. This is Madhvi from TaroticallySpeaking.com, my blog where I talk about all the things that I have learned from and about the tarot cards, where I review tarot decks and books, and I also make videos about tarot on this YouTube channel. I've also written a book about tarot, about how you can use storytelling techniques to enhance your reading skills. So if any of this interests you, the links are in the description that accompanies this video, so go check it out. I also, of course, do tarot readings and I mentor tarot students. So if you're interested in that, definitely go check the links below. All right, now let's focus on the video that I have planned today. This is something that's been in the making, or rather that's been on the back of my mind for a while now. And it's something that I guess even a lot of you have been sort of asking, or it's come up in a lot of readings that the spread videos that I do. And it is all about what happens when you find a positive card, or a card that has, usually or traditionally or typically positive connotations, show up in what is a negative spread position. And of course, vice versa, what happens when you have what is a traditionally negative card show up in a position, in the spread position, which is considered positive. So, for instance, now I have, since February is all about relationships, the spread that I am going to kind of focus on is, a simple 3-card spread where we have one position is what brings you together, one position is what pulls you apart, and the third position is what you guys need to focus on. So this is a spread for a couple. Right. So now in this particular spread position, clearly what brings you together will have positive connotations as a spread position. And so we'll see what happens when a negative card shows up there. And what pulls you apart clearly has negative connotations. And we'll see what happens when a positive card shows up there. And so for the purpose of this particular spread, what I have actually done is, because normally I just pull random cards out, but we needed specific cards to come up here, I've sort of divided the cards into positive, negative, and neutral. So, just based on my assessment or understanding of them. So it's not like, I believe all cards have both shades, but by and large, these cards are considered positive or considered negative, so I've kind of separated them out like that. And then of course I've sort of mixed them up so that I don't know which card is going to get pulled out when. And so let's do an example, because that's how I teach the best, right? So what brings you together? Now I want to pull a card which has negative sort of connotations in this position. So I'm going to pull one card from that pile. And what pulls you apart? So I'm going to pull a card from what the positive connotations pile is, and what to focus on. So for that, I'm just pulling a card, from the neutral sort of pile, and it's major arcana. So it will be a major arcana. I've kind of made it that way. So just to keep it simple and straight. All right. Okay. So now, what brings you together? This position is going to talk about, as a couple, what is creating the togetherness in their relationship. And boom, here we have the 5 of Pentacles card. Now, don't get baffled, and this is what happens. We expect to see something, we expect to see a different card, and we see a card which has all the traditional trappings of negativity. I mean, this card has the basic keyword of poverty, hardship, rejection, right? This is a tough card. Nobody wants to be in this card. But then, this is the energy that literally brings you together. See what I did there? I took again, let me break it down. This card has the connotations of poverty, of hardship, of rejection. Now, these 3 words are my go-to keywords for this card. Okay, this is again a technique you can use when, let's say, you open a card and you draw a blank. This happens to everybody, no matter how long you've done readings and so on and so forth. It happens to me also. So it's perfectly okay. Always it's a good idea to have at least one, if not more, keywords, go-to keywords for each card. Okay, this is very important. And you must know them so well, literally so well, that if, let's say, you were fast asleep and someone were to shake you awake and say, hey, what's the keyword for this card? And you could just, in your sleep, say, okay, this, and this, and go back to sleep. That's how well you should know the keywords. All right. It should be just so ingrained inside of you. It's like within a second, you have your answer. Why this comes in handy is when, especially if you're doing readings for other people, be it in a professional or a non-professional setting, you don't want to appear like someone who has to think and say, what was the meaning that I learned? You don't want to be that person. You don't want to be that reader. You want to at least have the appearance of confidence so that the other person who's come there also has confidence in what you say, right? So have those keywords. That is how much you should know them. Okay, so that was one sidebar lesson, but come back to this. So we say, all right, we take those keywords and then we put that in the context of the spread position, which over here is poverty, hardship, and rejection are the forces that bring you together. Ta-da! Another thing is you can also look in this picture. Now, if you're a tarot person, it is likely that you're also a visually motivated person. This is the second way to go about it, right? Look in the picture. They are going through a very tough time. It's snowing outside, and they are standing outside the building. And this woman is barefoot. This guy is, walking on a crutch. They're really, they're beggars. They are poor. They are going through a tough time. But the fact remains that they are still together. See what I mean? This is something that one of my students had pointed out to me a while back about, when I taught her, and she's like, they're still together. And I'm like, yeah, I never thought of that, right? So sometimes it's only when you go through hard times in life that you realize who your true friends are, right? So even though this card has these so-called negative connotations attached to it, there is a hint of positivity there if you just look, right? But even if you don't look at the picture and you just say, okay, traditionally this card has these meanings, go to the first method that I said, the keyword method, and you say, okay, what brings you together is the hardship, it's the poverty that you both have gone through together. So this is the energy that brings you together. Simple enough now, right? So both of these individuals have gone through, maybe together or separately in their lives, they've gone through hardships, they've gone through hard times, and it's that feeling of these common experiences are what holds them together, because they know what it's like to go through a tough time. So now suddenly this card is not all that negative, is it? Okay, so now what pulls you apart, right? Now this position is going to talk about something negative. This is this part of the story which talks about what is not working really, what is drawing them away from each other. And yeah, look at this one. We have the Four of Wands. Again, traditionally, this card is celebration, harmony, and happy marriage. Right? So these are the keywords for this card: celebrations, marriage, harmony. Now these are the things that actually pull them apart. Right? Now, this is something very, 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 very interesting, right? If you're looking at this relationship now, you see a completely different picture. You see someone who has gone through a tough time, and that shared experience, whether separately or together, is what brings them together. But what pulls them apart? This is the card where you see, all the passions aligning, the Four of Wands, the celebration, the party, the even the happy marriage, so to speak. But could it be that this is simply what others are perceiving, that these guys, their marriage is so perfect, so harmonious, it's whatever it is. It's just a picture that they see from outside. That could be it. Or maybe the fact that, these two are married, they are, or they are living together, or they have this perfect sort of harmonious situation of togetherness, or they're always partying, they're always out there having a good time. Could it be that these situations are actually what pull them apart from each other, right? Now, I know there are some people for whom the concept of marriage is by itself something that they find completely scary and dreadful. And so, even if they were in a happy relationship, the moment they get married, that whole thing goes down south. Maybe that is the situation that pulls them apart. Or maybe these guys are, they've gone through a hard time. Now they're doing well for themselves, maybe. And so now they're always celebrating. They're out there. They are, hanging out with their friends and all of that, being very, very social, or having that kind of a social life. Perhaps that is bringing them, the distance in their marriage. That is what is creating the distance in their marriage. So, and you see that now suddenly this Four of Wands looks like a not so happy situation. So, simple, straightforward way of interpreting it is have your keyword, and then put it in the context of the spread position, and then start building from there. Use the materials of the card imagery to go and then your intuition, your storytelling skills, everything starts to kick in and everything starts to form. So what is the what should they really focus on if they want to keep that relationship going? The Star card, right? They should focus on letting go of all these old things, all these things that no longer serve them. And they should focus on staying positive. They should focus on staying, hopeful. And they should make a fresh start in their relationship. And that is what will, help them grow together as a couple. Simple? Okay, let's take another example. Because why not? Okay, so what brings you together? What pulls you apart? And what you should focus on. All right. Now, what brings you together? Now, this will go a little bit quicker. Okay. What brings you together? This is a positive position. And we get the Five of Wands. Five of Wands, the keyword here is chaos. The keyword here, or the key phrase even, is, everybody's got their own agenda and it's chaotic, it's crazy. This energy, this chaotic energy, is what brings them together. So perhaps they are, they like being in the middle of the chaos, and they like, navigating this kind of a chaotic environment. Maybe that environment is around them. There's a bunch of people around them, like the picture goes, and, everybody's doing their own thing. And it is in this whole craziness that they find their connection, their togetherness. This is what brings them together, the chaos that surrounds them, or the fact that they all each have their own sort of agenda in life is also something, you can even connect that. That is also something that brings them together, because, they have a whole different thing. Each person has their own path, but it brings them together anyway. That's what brings them together. That's what brings them together. All right. So what pulls them apart? Eight of Wands. Ooh, it's all these wands this time, huh? So Eight of Wands. Eight of Wands is harmony. Eight of Wands is, everything moving smoothly. Everything is going. And you know what? See this. This is perfect. In this, you see the chaos, and that chaos is what brings them together. Therefore, naturally, as the antithesis of it, what pulls them apart is something that moves quickly, swiftly, and harmoniously, energetically towards the destination. So clearly, it's not, this is the energy that pulls them apart, because they thrive on the chaos. they don't thrive on everything going smoothly. They thrive on the crazy last minute. There are some people who like to have last minute deadlines because that's when they can do the best jobs, right? Maybe this couple is exactly like that. They thrive on that excitement of the last minute. But if things are going smoothly, it probably becomes a ho hum kind of a boring environment for them. And if everything is going just fine and no worries, probably that is something that doesn't bring the thrill in their relationship. And that is what pulls them apart. So, what should they focus on? They should focus on we have the hermit, right? And it's interesting that he shines a light kind of in this direction. But for the hermit cards, and I know for this particular spread, I have taken all cards upright because just to make life simpler. So, hermit is solitude, hermit is reflection, right? Self-reflection. But hermit can also represent a wise old man or someone to whom you need to go and ask for guidance, for advice, right? So for them to stick around, to stay together, to find that common ground, so to speak, either they need to sort of, spend some time by themselves in solitude and reflect on this particular energy and see for themselves why and how it works for them. And if it works for them, go for it, keep going, right? Or if they want to bring some change, if they want to, be less hectic, if that is the aim of the game, then, they can go to someone who is, someone who can guide them, someone who can advise them and show them the way forward, and they can ask that person for advice. Isn't that simple? All right. You know what? I'm going to do one more example and this one will go way quicker than the previous one, okay? So brace yourself. What brings you together or pulls you apart, and what you should focus on, okay? So what brings you together? Ooh, Three of Swords. This is interesting. Now, see, traditionally the Three of Swords is associated with heartbreak, with betrayal. Simple, yes? So heartbreak and betrayal is exactly what brings you together. Straightforward, right? It could be that both of you had your hearts broken, previous relationships, and now together you find that comfort with each other, that okay, you both understand each other because you guys know where you're coming from. So the heartbreak of your past maybe is something that brings you together. If that's not the case, let's say something that happened in your relationship, maybe there was a betrayal, maybe there was a heartbreak that happened in your current relationship with each other, but after that you've become stronger, you've become positive, more drawn to each other. That experience is what brought you all together, right? Different ways you can interpret it. So this kind of heartbreak, this kind of a betrayal is exactly what brings you together. So what pulls you apart? Six of Swords. Now the key word for this one is moving on, right? This is my keyword, moving on. So the need or the desire or the tendency or the wish to, put everything behind you and just move on, right? So this is very classic again. So if let's say you guys, one of the partners may have cheated but aftermath of that whole situation has made you realize the love for each other and it has brought you together. So yes, the heartbreak did bring you together, but what pulls you apart is also on some level, because this is all about the head, the swords, yeah? So intellectually, a part of you is like, once a cheater, always a cheater. Maybe I should just walk away, leave all this behind. So that desire is also there underneath it all. And that is what is pulling you apart. And this is classic, right? So what you need to focus on? High Priestess, right? You need to really, really take a moment, right? High Priestess is all about stillness. See, here again, I have a bunch of keywords for each card. So High Priestess is all about stillness, take a moment, breathe, pause, right? Perhaps it's a time to kind of press the pause button on your relationship, and each of you needs to kind of go within, look within, ask yourself, what is it that you really want, right? What is it that you genuinely desire? And maybe because of this card, it's all about stillness. Maybe right now, while you're doing that, you need to just take a moment and press pause and just wait it out. The solution will sooner or later present itself, but right now you don't have to take any decision. You just need to ask your inner self for guidance, right? And wait and see what guidance comes through. Oh, this is powerful stuff, yeah? So this was the very interesting spread that and the examples that I wanted to share with you of what happens when you have positive cards coming up in a negative position of a spread, and what happens when you have negative cards showing up in the positive spread position. So how do you interpret it, right? It's not that hard. It's just, you need to have, to summarize, you need to have keywords for each of those cards that you can quickly remember. And then you say, okay, so this, say the spread position and then say the keywords, or, say the keyword in a spread position, and then start building the story and look at the card image and take elements from that to build that story more and more. And, you won't go wrong. All right. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and I'm going to do another part of this video, so watch out for that next month, because I'm not done yet. And if you guys are interested in seeing me do my card a day readings, you can always follow me on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, where I post pictures of a new deck every month, and I use that to do my card a day readings. And if you're interested in the monthly prediction videos, look out for those towards the end of the month, where I do prediction videos for the month following month. You know what I'm saying? And I also put out, these kind of spread videos now and then. So please subscribe to my channel, share these videos with your other tarot friends, all of that good stuff. And once again, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I will see you again in my next one. Until then, stay good, be good, and play with your cards. Bye now.